Welcome to another episode of Theological Pipe. News, culture, sports, politics, and everything else from a theological perspective.
It's all summed up in love.
What should I do? Tell me. God is good. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, give me peace. Give me peace.
Put that in your theological pipe and smoke it. Hey, welcome to another episode of Theological Pipe. My name's Chris. Glad you guys are here. Wanted to thank everybody again for listening and commenting, and keep doing that. Keep sharing, keep commenting, keep subscribing. We're on Apple Podcasts now and Google Podcasts, or we will be soon there, Spotify, YouTube, and there's other ones, Pocket Casts. So we're on most of the platforms where podcasts are available. Just search for Theological Pipe and you'll be able to find us. But again, thank you for listening. I thought it was pretty cool. Where I upload the podcast, you can kind of get an idea of who's listening, how many people, where they're listening from, and someone was listening from Ireland, and I don't know why I think that's cool, but that's cool. So if you're listening from Ireland, man, thanks. And again, keep listening and keep sharing, and I really appreciate it. Wanted to talk today about perspective. And again, the whole idea of Theological Pipe is to just think of things in a different way. The phrase "put that in your theological pipe and smoke it" is just meant to say, think about things differently. I believe there's a God. I want to cover things from that perspective, that there is a God and He is real, and we're going to cover things from that perspective. Now, I'm a Christian, but I think everything that I kind of talk about, I don't think I'm going to really try to be aggressively trying to get you saved. Now, I hope that happens. I hope some seeds are planted and you start seeking and searching for God, maybe more than you have. But the idea of this is just to approach things from a different perspective, for you to look at that, because when you look at the news and you look at the entertainment industry and you look at culture as a whole, it is not theologically based. It is not based on that there is a God, and we can argue about that, or you can do some Google research on your own and find out that the majority of the news is slanted from a certain perspective. The majority of education is slanted from a certain perspective. The majority of entertainment and the entertainment culture is slanted from a certain perspective, and that's great. But I think that more now with the internet and with different podcasts and different YouTube channels, there's different, the new media is what they call it. People are able to put different perspectives out. And so I thought I'll put this out and cover things from that perspective. And so there may be times when I cover things and I say, listen, here's what the Bible says, or here's what this religion teaches, or here's what most theologians from, most theology teaches, regardless of what religion, whether it's Islam or Christianity or Judaism or anything. This is what most people believe, because the majority of people in the world believe in a higher power, and that's just the way it is. So it's nice every once in a while to maybe think about things differently. We're watching the news these days, especially in the United States, but all over, and there's unrest, and there's people complaining, and there's people upset about things, and in some instances, 100% they're right to be upset, but in a lot of instances, their response to the grievance is not a good one, and I'm just going to leave that there. That'll be a discussion for another time. But today, again, I wanted to talk about perspective and just looking at things a little bit different when it comes to blessing, when it comes to what we have in the United States and probably elsewhere. In the United States, I'm going to use figures from the United States. These probably correlate to other countries, but again, the United States, I think it's not a stretch to say that the United States is blessed in terms of our country, our people, our system of government. There's so many things that a lot of people are blessed about, or that will say they're blessed from because of the United States. And in the United States, the Health and Human Services Department, they put out a report every year, and they in one of their reports, they talk about poverty, the poverty level. And in the United States of America, a single person household if they make $12,760 or more, they are considered above the poverty level. Now, I'm not going to argue about, well, that's not enough, or you need more money than that to live. That's fine. But in the United States of America, $12,760 is considered above the poverty level. And as you add more people to your household, that number goes up. So a household of four, if you make $26,200, you are considered above the poverty level. Anything below that, you're considered to be living in poverty. And that's fine, and there are people living in poverty, and some of those people are the ones that are protesting and complaining about the conditions and complaining about wanting better access to things, and more power to them, and they're probably right in some instances. But I think and there are other people like myself, like other people, who will protest along with them to say we need to do better. We need to be more frugal with the money and more intentional with the money that we spend, either personally or government-wise. We give money to the government in form of taxes, and then the government spends that money for programs that help people that are in need, and they don't spend it wisely. And we know that they spend it haphazardly, and we know that they make mistakes. And so as we fight for that, and we say we know that there's businesses that get tax breaks that probably don't need them, and they make tons of money, and they don't care about this, and they don't care about that, and they're greedy, and all those things are good arguments. And so when we look at people that are in need, we say, man, we need to help these people. And of course we do, and we need to help each other. But I think if we take a step back for a second, and again, I'm not diminishing any person's feelings in terms of I need more money, or I need more this, or this is a problem in this country. But I think if we take a step back and look at things differently, maybe we'll walk away from and saying, you know what, the United States is blessed. The United States is a great country with a great system that has done amazing things. Yes, we can be better. We're flawed. Yes, we can do better things, but we're really, really blessed, and we really, really have a good thing going here. And let's not try to dismantle the whole system, which is what some people are talking about these days. Let's try to fine-tune the system we have that has allowed this to happen. I want you to listen to these stats. Again, I don't think it's about dismantling the United States of America. I think it's about fine-tuning it and fixing things that are wrong so more people can benefit. But listen to these stats real quick. If you made $1,500 last year, you are considered in the top 20% of the world's income earners. You are in the top 20% of the richest people in the world if you made $1,500. If you earned $25,000 or more, so if you earn $25,000 or more, you're in the top 10%. If you have even $1, if you have any money in the bank, in a checking account or a savings account, if you have a hobby that requires you to buy something for that hobby, so you like to fish and you buy some fishing lures, you like to play music, you buy some guitar strings, you like to garden, so you buy some seeds and some gardening tools, you like to paint, so you buy paints and paintbrushes. If you have a hobby that requires you to go out and buy something to do that hobby, you like to play sports, golf, you buy some golf balls, soccer, you buy a soccer ball, whatever it is, if you have money in the bank, if you have a hobby, you have some clothes to wear, and you have a house, you are in the top 5% of the richest people in the world. And if you earn more than $50,000 a year, congratulations, you are now one of the dreaded 1%. You are a 1%er if you make more than $50,000 a year. And that's, again, we're talking about in the world. And yes, I know there's a difference between living in one country or the other, but again, what I'm wanting to do is just take things into perspective. Take a step back for a second and listen to this. People in the United States who live below the poverty level are still the top 20% of the richest people in the world. That's why I think this is the greatest, I'm going to say this is the greatest country in the world. Do we have issues? Yes. Were there issues in the past that we've rectified? Absolutely. Are we still working on things? Absolutely. Are there still things we need to work on? Absolutely. And the good thing is in this country, we get to work on them and we get to change them. But if we take a step back and look at things from a different perspective, you can say, wow, the United States is blessed beyond belief. And again, if you're listening from another country, those stats are still true. If you make $1,500 or more, you're in the top 20% of income earners in the world. $25,000 or more, top 10%. $50,000 or more, you're a one percenter. That's pretty amazing, because a lot of times when we think of the richest people in the world, we're thinking of millionaires and billionaires. But really, in the world, it's 50 grand or more, and you're a one percenter. And so I think if we look at things from that perspective, maybe for a second, things will start to take on a little bit different shape. And instead of being angry all the time, instead of being defensive all the time, instead of trying to start an argument with someone who says something good about the United States or bad about the United States, maybe we could say, hey, let's take a step back for a second. Let's put some stuff in a theological pipe. Let's smoke it. And maybe we'll think differently. And maybe when someone, when we look at the United States, we'll say, man, God really has blessed the United States of America. We are blessed beyond belief in this country, because we, even the poorest people in the United States, if you look at the world, they are the richest. They are some of the richest people in the world. And that's not something to just take for granted. That's something to celebrate. And again, something that we can use to spur us on to be even better. Because we know that as people make more money, and if we can have a heart for, instead of trying to attack and allow people to divide us, if we can get together, and if we're some of the richest people in the world, we can start helping each other and helping other people and helping other people in the world, and we can start lifting each other up instead of trying to tear each other down and to make it a competition and to make it some zero-sum game where if somebody's successful, that means somebody has to be unsuccessful. It doesn't work that way. We can pull each other and push each other and help each other along. And so I wanted to just kind of talk about that. Just put that in your theological pipe and smoke it. Think about that for a second, that if you make $1,500 or more, you are one of the top 20% of the richest people in the world. That's a perspective. That's a different perspective that we probably didn't recognize and we probably didn't know. And I know what a lot of people are doing, because I'm doing it right now in my head. I'm saying, yeah, but. I'll tell you a funny story. I'm a pastor. I teach every Sunday, or most every Sunday, at a church, and I was talking about the fact that when someone says something, a lot of times we may agree, but there's always but. There's always something that we've got to add. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but have you ever thought about this? And so I was kind of going through a sermon. I don't even remember what I was talking about. I was going through a message, and I was saying, a lot of people think about this, but have you ever thought about this? And I said, that's the thing about the way I think and the way I like to tackle things and think about things. I'll say something that is true, but then I'll say, but. Yeah, but. Did you ever think about this? And I like doing that. I like talking about things in that perspective. I like wrestling with things. Probably why I'm doing the podcast, Theological Pipe, to think about things differently and have you come with me. But as I was preaching, as I was teaching that Sunday, I say this, I'm talking about the way I do that, and I say, yeah, and I like big butts. Oops. And I almost started singing the song. So there's nothing wrong with buts, but every once in a while we can stop with the buts. We can stop with the qualifiers to a phrase and just take a step back. And when I say this, the United States is blessed. Yeah, but no, shut that off. There's no need for that. The United States is blessed. You're blessed. So instead of fighting with people on the internet and fighting with your neighbors and fighting with people how about you're blessed? Man, that should put a smile on your face. You can walk out of your house today knowing, maybe not out of your house because you're not supposed to go out because of COVID, but you can wake up and you can say, man, I'm blessed. I'm one of the richest. I'm one of the top. Probably everyone listening to this is one of the top 20% of the richest people in the world. So, walk out and be proud and be happy and go make those changes you think need to be made. But again, I don't think it requires tearing down the system. I think it requires fine-tuning it so other people can come along. But again, when the poorest people in the United States are still some of the richest people in the world, the United States is blessed. And again, if you're listening to this in another country, you could probably look up the figures in your country, and you'll probably find out that you're probably one of the blessed people in the world. You're one of the top 20%. And that's not something to be upset about. I didn't want to say ashamed. It's not something to be upset about, man. That's amazing. We're blessed. And so just put that in your theological pipe and smoke it. Think about things in a different way. Again, really appreciate everyone listening. Keep listening, commenting. And as I always want to say when I leave, beyond anything, go out and be nice. Just be nice to somebody. Go smile at somebody. Text somebody that you're thinking about. Be nice to people. When you get on Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat or Instagram or whatever, and someone posts something that you don't like, and your first reaction is but I'm gonna go and try to win an argument. Just stop for a second and do a smiley emoji to them or something. Just go out and be nice. So again, put that in your theological pipe and smoke it, and be nice. See you next time.